What up? What up? What up? What up, fellas? What is going on? It's your boy Nate. I'm here with our 15. We're launching this 15 days of streaming, 15 days of streaming. Um, and we're just encompassing everything Memoir Men. We're going to spend some time talking about what it is. We're going to spend some time going into some men stuff. That's what this thing is all about. Men issues, men topics, right? Chopping it up for years since 2017. I would get in together with a group of men, and we would just chop it up. It was called the Chop Talk, and we did that for years, where we would sit down and just talk about whatever topic that came to mind. A lot of the times it was posing particular questions in regards to whatever things that we go through, right? It is a place of conversation. It is a place where we learn. It is where we grow. It is a place where iron does sharpen iron. And we're going to talk about why even this exists, right? But first, before we get into all that, I'm just excited. I'm just excited. I've been meaning to do this for a while now. I went to, there's a pastor by the name of Darius Daniels. My wife took me to a conference that he was doing, and it was so inspiring. It was so inspiring. And they were talking to a lot of people, business people, people that wanted to get into certain ministries, certain businesses, being on social media. And one of the challenges was this that I'm presenting tonight, being able to stream live consistently and to be able to finally do it, so I'm like, yo, I'm excited about 2025 and what it has in store. So yeah, Memoir Men. So I'm excited to be here again today, and we're gonna dive into what is a Memoir Man. Why are we even here in the first place? Why I'm doing this? I'll share with you a story real quick. This is years ago now. There was a friend. My wife and I. We had another couple that we were friends with, and they, we would go to double dates and we would hang out. They were God-fearing people, so are we, and so we had a lot in common. They were preachers, we were preachers. My wife is a dancer. The young lady also was a dancer. Anyways, long story short, we spent a lot of time together, growing together and all this stuff. And they had issues in their marriage that we were unaware of. By the time it really became all over, that's when we found out that they were breaking up. The one thing that irked me, like, bro, like, how come I didn't know? I mean, we weren't like best of friends, but we were close enough to where, you could have, put me on game. You could have, hit me up or something. Like, what happened? And I realized at that moment, even in my own experiences, that when I get through it, when I'm in a trying time, that would normally be a time where I kind of seclude myself. You going through as a man, you want to grind it out, right? You want to grind it out. You want to see, all right, I'm just going to hunker down. I'm going to be a man. I'm going to toughen up. I'm going to do what I got to do. And now it just so happened that we're in a situation now where you're by yourself, isolated, secluded. You can't bounce ideas off anyone. And now you're going through this situation, which could have been really saved. That marriage, I do believe, could have been saved if there were, there was some more accountability, more love, more community. You know what I'm saying? Somebody to hash things out with, somebody that'll give a different perspective. Anyways, none of that happened. And I do believe that's one of the reasons why that relationship was doomed, which, surprising to me, hit me hard. That thing hit me so hard. I started boo-hoo crying. And even while I was tearing up and crying, I had no idea where those emotions were coming from. I realized that there's something very special about marriage, something very special about this type of relationship. And the fact that it wasn't fought for more really made me sad. And that's when I realized, and again, even going through my own experience, I realized, man, like dudes actually go through this stuff. We go through drama. We go through highs and lows. How come nobody, even in the context of marriage, how come nobody told me that I'll be going through this stuff? I thought I was going crazy. And y'all was going through the same thing. And y'all never shared this. This is where Memoir Man was born. A place where men come in able to be vulnerable. That's one thing that I recognize, is that usually men become secluded, protective, have their walls up, so they're not vulnerable. Nobody knows what's going on in their head. They go into a cave, like TD Jakes would say, go into a cave, play with your boy toys, right? You got your toys that you play with, things that alleviate the stress, things that get your mind off of it, and you stay in that cave. Some people are able to stay there for a short period of time. Some people stay there for a long period of time and never come out. And I realized at that moment is that there needs to be a place, that there needs to be a platform where men can come together, share, be open, be vulnerable, do some reflection, do some introspection, right? Bounce ideas off one another, gain wisdom from one another, and being able to navigate life with a little bit more stability, a little bit more wisdom, understanding, and we could do things a lot better, and we could live successful lives. So that's what Memoir Men is all about. To just break it down simply, the word memoir, we know a person who writes a story. Usually it's an experiential story where they begin to explain an experience that they had. But within that story are these thoughts and ideas where they've been able to reflect. There's a moral to the story, and some of these lessons are shared as they share the whole story. The difference between that and an autobiography, a memoir is one where you glean something from your experiences. What was your thought during that process? What was your idea? How were you feeling? Now we know the story, and I think as a society we're learning that men are emotional beings that go through depression, that go through anxiety. I think we're starting to really appreciate that a lot more. But we came from a generation where, you would, suck it up, and boys don't cry, and you gotta, pick yourself up and keep going, get up off the ground, dust, without no emotion. And so we do have a society of men that really have an inability to tap into what it is they're feeling. It's so interesting that you hear stuff like women are more emotional than men. I think that there's a place where we can have a conversation that is intellectual enough that it makes sense. But for the most part, what I realize is that women, generally speaking, is able to navigate their emotions more than men. And a lot of decisions that they do make are emotional in this, and not it because it's emotional, it doesn't mean that it's impulsive. Emotional means I'm drawn to it because my emotions are drawn to it. It's not that intellect is not involved. It's just that what solidifies it, what confirms it to me that I'm going to make this decision or that decision, is because my emotion says yes. And that, in that sense, I believe that's true, that women make decisions based on the emotion. It's like that confirmation. Whereas for men, not necessarily. Most of the times it has to make sense, right? There's a level of logic. And it's not that women don't do logic. There's a lot more women that's way more logical and make way more sense than some men. In fact, I'm always hashing ideas out with my wife to see if what I'm thinking, what I'm saying actually makes sense. And a lot of times she gives me the knowledge, the logic, the connection to be like, okay, yeah, this is something that does make sense. The only what I'm saying is that the man is able to make decisions what confirms it for him is something that there is a logical connection. Whereas for women, it's more of there's an emotional connection. All right, we can obviously stay in that all day long. That is not the point of this conversation tonight. But what I do want to share is that men, because they don't tap into that emotional piece, they make decisions or they go through things that they really cannot navigate well, because we are emotional beings. That is part of us. And it's not that we don't have emotions, is that many times we can't even indicate the emotion that we're experiencing. We can't place it, you know? So we might be sad about a situation, but instead of recognizing that we're in a sad place because of whatever the circumstance is, we actually get angry. So this anger comes about, and people's wondering why we angry, not recognizing that the greater emotion that you're going through is sadness, right? We need to be able to recognize our emotions and be able to navigate life, recognizing our emotions, knowing how to deal with them, whether they help our situation or whether they aren't helpful, and we have to know how to deal, navigate our emotions as we go through a circumstance, as we go through changes in our lives. And that's what Memoir Men do. Memoir Men take the time to reflect on their experiences, reflect on what they're going through. Why am I thinking what I'm thinking? Why am I feeling what I'm feeling? What am I feeling? Why am I feeling it? And what do I need to do? Then that's that introspective work. Why do I think like this? First we identify what it is that I'm feeling, what it is that I'm thinking, and then we go into why are we thinking like this? It could be very simple. I'm thinking about this because of that, whatever this or that is. But then it could be something that's way deeper. This is usually my process because of whatever happened in my past that caused me to think the way that I think, that caused me to do things the way that I do things, that caused me to move the way that I move. And because of where I am in my life right now, it may have to change. But first I have to identify that it exists in the first place. A Memoir Man looks at an experience, reflects upon it, does some introspection of the heart. What is my motive? What am I thinking? And then being able to take the information and be able to progress. How can I be a better man in this situation next time? How can I be a man? Use that experience to make me a better man, have better relationships, do better business, grow more successful ministries. How do I navigate where I am mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and how does that help me to show out better in the world? That's what Memoir Man is all about. And that's what we're going to take the next 15 days to really break down. What is a memoir man? How does a memoir man navigate? How do I use experiences and engage in reflection, introspection for the sake of progress? There's a lot to break down. I'm so excited about this time. We're going to spend more time looking at different topics, different areas in manhood as we navigate this next 15 days of live stream, which is going to culminate with a revamping of a podcast that I started way back that I want to kind of get going again. I'm excited for 2025, y'all. I'm excited for 2025. We got a lot going on. So we're going to continue these streams. As we continue these streams, then we're going to launch out our Memoir Man podcast, where we'll have interviews and definitely break down topics. You might have me as the talking head, but in most cases, I try to get some men that got some valuable information to share with us. And we got a lot coming up, a lot of things brewing in the background. As we unfold, I'll be here to share. Again, I am excited that you are here. I am excited. You may not even think that this was going to be part of your journey, but I'm excited that you've tapped in to Memoir Men, and we will together grow to be prosperous in every area of our lives because we are tapped in intellectually, spiritually, and emotionally. No longer will we be isolated, because I understand, and I hope that you understand, that no man leads alone. No leader can be a true leader by him or herself. No man leads alone. In order to be that leader, we got to be able to have a community. And so I want to partner with you so that we can ride together. All right. So again, my name is Nate. Welcome to Memoir Man. You are a memoir man. I am a memoir man. And together we will reflect, introspect for the sake of pride.